Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
H.O.I.
To all my brothers and the sisters that keep the law and the faith.
Till the chariots fly.
On the highways, byways, pushing commandments to all of my people. In a place where they never were equal, and the people who run it are evil. Shooting us down in the street, poison the food that we eat, poison the water we drink, making it hard to think the devil is playing for keeps. They get the money and go, leaving us stuck on the bottom. Soon as they spot them, they got them. I tell you the devil is rotten. I know that them niggas is scheming and plotting, it won't be forgotten. Yahweh is watching. Soon as he give us the power, my nigga, you know that we getting it poppin'. Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah, may my...
Alright, first and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shah, who the world calls Christ. It's your brother H.O.I, H-O-I-G-A, brother Kwamwala, H-O-I-N-C, soon to be. And today we're going to go over Isaiah 14th chapter. We're going to talk about Lucifer and who Lucifer is and how we know Lucifer is. Alright, so we're going to start from the top real quick.
Okay. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, from the top. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them.
All right.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
So first thing we got to notice is that in no time in history did this happen. How do we know that? Because it's talking about the whole house of Israel. The northern kingdom is only referred to as Israel, and the southern kingdom is referred to as Judah. So now we know that the whole house of Israel will be taking their oppressors into captivity. That hasn't happened yet. Verse 2.
Verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
So this is talking about the eschaton. Or in eschatology, this is future tense. So we know this hadn't happened yet. Verse 3.
Verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day, that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve.
So we know again that this is future context. Why? Because we're still sorrowful. We're still in fear to this day, and we're still serving hard bondage to this nation. Go ahead.
That verse 4, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon.
Against who?
The king of Babylon. And say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased.
So like I said in verse 3, in that day, jumping back to verse 4, it's going to say, we're going to take up this proverb and we're going to say, how has the golden city ceased? Right now, the golden city is Mystery Babylon, which is, you can read about that in Revelation 17:5. Mystery Babylon, which we know today is America. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 5. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers.
So how is the Lord going to break the staff of the wicked? Get Isaiah 34 and 34 and start at verse 4. Okay. We're going to find out how the Lord is going to break the staff of the wicked.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 34, verse 4. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. And all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine.
Okay. And
as a falling fig from the fig tree.
Verse 5.
Verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea.
So we know that Mystery Babylon, that's referred to in Isaiah 14, is talking about Esau or America. And how's he going to take them down? Well, those thermonuclear missiles that's going to be bathed in heaven. When they go up, they're going to reach them clouds, and when they come down, it's going to roll up like a scroll. That's a mushroom cloud, right? Okay. So go back to Isaiah 14 and get verse 6. Start at verse 6.
Book of Isaiah chapter 14, verse 6. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth.
He did what? He ruled the nations in what?
Ruled the nations in anger.
If a nation doesn't conform to America, what happens? They risk going to war with them. They won't receive support from America, just like Puerto Rico when they had that hurricane down there and Trump was throwing toilet paper at them. You see what I mean? That's because Puerto Rico didn't want to conform to the ways of America. They wanted them to get abortions down there, and they won't do it. So guess what? They still without power. Most parts of Puerto Rico to this day. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead. That was it on it? None speak out against them?
Oh, yeah. None hindereth.
And none hindereth. Nobody says anything. Nobody tries to stop them. You see what I mean? From mistreating these nations. Go ahead, verse 7.
Verse 7. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing.
So now that the white man is gone and Mystery Babylon is out of the way, the whole earth rejoices. The whole earth is singing. And you know what I mean? Is at rest. You know what I mean? Get Proverbs 29:2. You see what I mean? So now that the wicked is out of the way, you know what I mean? The earth is rejoiceful now. The animals can frolic in the woods again. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
So the people, just like we just read in Isaiah, the people are singing now because Babylon has been destroyed. Babylon is out of the way. Go ahead.
But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
So we're all in mourning right now. All the nations right now is in mourning. Why? Because this devil is ruling them. They overtaxing them. They locking them up, killing its own citizens. You know what I mean? Putting embargoes on certain nations, trade restrictions on certain nations. That's mourning. Everybody's in mourning. You know what I mean? Go back to Isaiah 14 in verse 8.
Okay. Back in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 8. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us.
Since America and the white man is out of the way, ain't nobody coming against us. We get to chill now. You see what I mean? The cedars of Lebanon is referring to those nations of color that Esau vexes from Egypt to Babylon. Maybe mostly the Fertile Crescent area. You see what I mean? The Middle East. Ain't no peace in the Middle East. Things of that nature. You see what I mean? Go ahead.
Verse 9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming.
Hell is what?
To meet thee at thy coming.
Hell can't wait for the white man. He can't wait to receive the white man. He's going to move all his dead out the way to make room for the so-called white man in America. Go ahead.
Okay. It stirreth up the dead for thee.
He's moving the dead out of the way to make room. Read.
Even all the chief ones of the earth, it hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations.
So the wicked of the wicked, they getting them out the way. It's like that movie Constantine, when at the end when John Constantine had slit his wrist and he was about to die, and then Satan came up himself. He said, "You're the one soul I came up here to collect myself." That's how the grave is. The grave is going to be. He's making room. He getting all these other wicked people out the way to make room for Mystery Babylon or American, so-called white man. Go ahead.
All they shall speak, verse 10, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we?
You like us now? Go ahead.
Art thou become like unto us?
Now you're nobody, like you called us a nobody? Now you're just like us. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee.
Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. That pride is brought down to the grave. The noise of their vows, that's musical instruments. That's their songs. America, America. That's out of here. The Star Spangled Banner, out of here. The fat lady is really singing this time, and this time is singing in the grave. The worms that's covering you, that's under you and covering you, that's you being under the ground, man. You're going to be lower than 6 feet. You see what I mean? Go ahead. Verse 12.
Verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
How have you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Lucifer just means light bearer, the one that sets the standard in the earth, the one that's receiving all the praise. That's all Lucifer means. You see what I mean? How have you fallen? I thought you was a big shot. Like that song, Billy Joel. You was a big shot, right?
Yeah.
What you doing down here? Go ahead.
son of the morning. How art thou cut down to the ground?
That's what these nations are going to say. How have you been destroyed? I thought you was the big guy, just like that, the school bully. You know what I mean? He's going around bullying everybody in the school, terrorizing, taking lunch money until somebody bigger than him, you know what I mean, knocks his ass out. And guess what? The school is at rest. Everybody gonna be looking at him, man. I thought you was the dude. I thought you was that guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? What happened? Go ahead.
Which didst weaken the nations.
This is the guy that weakened the nation. How did he weaken the nations? Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You see what I mean? He had everybody fooled thinking he was the guy. And that's how he made an example of weakened the nations through that single act right there. From that point on, nobody touched America. Nobody came up against him. How are you down here? I thought you was the guy. Go ahead.
Verse 13. For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation.
The white man wants to be at the top. He wants to be that top nation of all nations. If they don't conform to America, they got a problem. You see what I'm saying? He wants to be the head dog. He wants to sit at the head of the table. Go ahead.
In the sides of the north. Verse 14. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
The white man wants to be like God. You see what I mean? He got the iron collider. He's messing with the God particle. You know what I mean? He's trying to experiment with population control. You know what I mean? He got he's cloning every damn thing. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
You're going to be brought down to the grave. You see what I mean? It sounds just like Obadiah. Get that in Obadiah 1:4. Sounds just like Obadiah. He wants to be up in the heavens. You know what I mean? Set his throne way up high. But the Most High is going to bring him down. Go ahead.
Okay. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars. Like
he just said, we were just read it in Isaiah. He wants to ascend into the heavens. You see what I mean? Go ahead.
Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
The Most High is going to bring him down. That was it on that?
Okay.
Go back to Isaiah 14.
Okay.
Start at 16.
Okay. Book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 16. They that see thee shall nearly look upon thee.
In the spirit, these nations, because Esau's going to be, or Mystery Babylon in America, the white man going to be brought down so low, they're going to be squinting their eyes in the spirit like, whoa, this is the guy? You know what I mean? This is him? Go ahead.
And consider thee saying, is this the man?
This is the man? Go ahead.
Is this the man that made the earth to tremble?
This is the man that had everybody scared? Everybody was in fear of this guy? Go ahead.
That did shake kingdoms.
Who shook kingdoms with his missiles that he launched at everybody. He did the carpet bomb over in the Middle East. You know what I mean? The Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is the guy? Go ahead.
Verse 17. That made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof.
Because everywhere this so-called white man goes, or the nation, the America, the UN and all that, everywhere they go, death and destruction follows them. Go ahead.
That opened not the house of his prisoners.
They locking up every damn body. 9/11, what was they doing? You just whisper that somebody's a terrorist, and guess what? They can lock you up indefinitely, forever. You know what I mean? They ain't gotta let you out. Go ahead.
Verse 18. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory. Every one in his own house.
Because after all these nations serve their judgment, that 1,000 years captivity, everybody's going to be able to go back to the nation, their own nation, and set up their own, little system or whatever. They're still going to be paying tribute to us, of course, but they get to go back to their homeland. They get to rest, except who? Verse 19.
Verse 19. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable breath, and as the raiment of those that are slain.
The white man doesn't get to go back to his land. The white man's land is the grave now. That's his homeland. That's going to be his homeland after he serves his 1,000 years captivity. He's going home to the grave. Go ahead.
Thrust through with a sword. that go down to the stones of the pit as a carcass trodden under feet.
So it's going to be like this big giant pit, right? And we're going to just be dumping their bodies in there. That's where they're going to be at. Verse 20.
Verse 20. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people.
So you're not going to be buried where, you know, all the other nations get buried at. You're going to have your own special place. Go ahead. Verse 20.
The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned.
You're going to be erased from the history books. America, Mystery Babylon, so-called white man is going to be erased from the history. You're going to have to go to a museum to see a so-called white man in the eschaton, man. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children.
Everybody knows this one. A classic. Go ahead.
Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers.
Read.
That they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Verse 22. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord.
You see that? So they're going to be completely destroyed. They're going to be erased off the face of the earth. Get Obadiah 1:18, because that's exactly what it's saying. You see what I mean?
The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame,
Read.
and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken.
You see that? The same thing we just read in Isaiah. You see what I'm saying? That's who we're preparing slaughter for. The son, the nephew, the grandma, the uncle, they're all out of here. Thus saith the Lord, man. Back to Isaiah 14 and 23. Okay. We're going to wrap this up. We got about 2 more verses.
Book of Isaiah chapter 14, verse 23. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water.
So the mud and the marshes, that's where they're going to be placed at. Go ahead.
And I will sweep it with the besom of destruction.
A broom, the Most High. How they was carpet bombing over there in the Middle East, they called it a sweep. How they would sweep it every hour on the hour. The Most High is going to do that to them. They're going to be in the muds and the marsh and the filth. That's where their grave is going to be, away from everybody else. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Saith the Lord of hosts.
This is what we're patiently waiting for right here. For this day right here. Get Revelation 13:10, and we're gonna shut it down, because this is what we're patiently waiting for. So that's who Lucifer is in Isaiah the 14th chapter. It's Mystery Babylon, aka America, aka the so-called white man here in America. Go ahead.
What was it? 13 and what?
13:10.
Okay. The book of Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Must be killed with the sword. Read.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
So that's the patience and the faith of the saints, of us. That's what we're waiting for. So I hope this was edifying. And with that, we're going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh. We do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world calls Christ. It's your brother H.O.I. Shalom.
Shalom.